Yes, we are back.
Best song.
Thank you so much. I was like going through, we got to have a cool song for these guys. Boom, there it is. You can't not sing along to that song, Tanner. Let's Talk Phys Ed, Season 3, Episode 7, our 45th episode, gentlemen, our 45th episode. I'm your host of Let's Talk Phys Ed, Jason Steele. With me, as always, Tanner.
Hey, what's happening? So, we're watching a lot of football this weekend. You told me I couldn't talk about certain things, but we are going to bring up in tonight's episode the 8th national championship of your North Dakota State University Bison. So, we will talk a little football today, but not as much as maybe some people want to hear.
Just a little bit. But, hey, we took a little bit of a break over the holidays. Hopefully everybody had a really good Christmas. And so far, a great new year. And we are back with these two fine gentlemen. We've got Cliff Roop and Matthew Holben. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Doing good. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, it's an honor to be on the same screen with you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, honor is all ours. You're on here for a reason, guys.
Yeah, some of our biggest fans. I mean, we love talking to you guys on Twitter and love to see your face here. So it's great to connect here in front of everybody.
Yeah. I'm excited to be on with Matthew, especially. I mean, I love you guys too. Don't get me wrong, you're great. But Matthew, I'm just a big fan of Matthew and everything he's been doing this year. It's awesome.
Yeah.
No, it's all on you, Cliff. The way that you've been growing in the profession, I bow down to you.
All right. Yeah. And honestly, following both of you on Twitter, both doing some really amazing things. And so hopefully we get a chance to talk about a couple of those things today. You guys ready for the questions?
Maybe. Sure.
This is the best part of the show because nobody wants to hear Tanner and I talk. Everybody wants to hear you two and who you are, what you do, what you're about. We're going to have some fun and talk some phys ed and more with Cliff and Matt. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. What is something you did in your first few years of teaching that you absolutely will never, ever do again? Matthew, you go first.
When I first started, I didn't have a mentor. I'm the only PE teacher in my building. I was right off student teaching, thrown into it. And growing up, I played a lot of sports. So one of the first things I ever started doing was drills with the different sports, and did that for a number of years, got tired of it. I switched things up, and I will never go back to just doing drills for class.
Nice answer.
You took the word.
I can relate to that.
I know my first couple of years too. My student or my cooperating teacher, is that what you call that? The teacher, like what you're going to be, Jason?
Yeah.
It's been so long. I'm really old. That's all I really saw from him. Like when he would, when I first showed up at my student teaching post, that's all I saw. And he was a basketball coach as well. He was a basketball player from the college, even where I went to school. And so it was drills. And that's just what I started doing first, because I'm like, well, that's what I saw. That's what I think I should do. And but now, having been through so many years of seeing what really, truly great teaching can be, I also will never just do drills ever again. There might be a place for them sometimes with some repetition, but anymore, I think there's just way more of a case to be made for partners working together, maybe even small groups, instead of just, like, okay, wait your turn, you're the 10th one in line, that's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm with you on that, Matthew. I will never go back to that again.
Yeah. And
Jason, how about you?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, you guys kind of touched on it a little bit, but really, let's be honest, you teach how you were taught. And so that's what we all kind of grew up with. And that's, sounds very similar to how my experiences were. This is what I saw. I was like, okay, this is how I have to teach, and this is what I have to do. And I give the example all the time when I present. When I'm telling people who I am and what I'm about, I was a good teacher, but I was a good gym teacher for about 10 and a half years. And now I've been teaching physical education for the last 2, and become much better because, again, like I said, you teach how you were taught. And now I'm, since getting on the Twitterverse, right? This free, professional learning network, and you're learning from some of the greatest PE minds around the world, and you're seeing all these amazing things. It's hard not to imitate that, right? And so, that's kind of my style too. And I'm glad that, we were able to, all of us, really turn it around. Tanner, how about yourself?
Oh, I was hoping you guys were going to say something more like my answer. You see, early in my career, I had once or twice when the kids were just driving me nuts. I had a tendency to just tell the kids to shut up, and
Did
I
it work?
usually do. Threw them off a little bit, so sometimes it worked. And I usually didn't say it as calm as that, but my kids are sleeping, so I'm not gonna yell it. But sometimes they're far away, so you've got to project.
Oh yeah.
So
Right.
at a certain point, I realized I should probably stop doing that. So that's
that is probably not best practice, but
yeah.
Well, that reminds me real quick. I also do recess monitoring as well in my building. And we had some indoor recesses, like a long stretch of them because of weather. And there were kids that they would have to go to their classrooms, and nobody wants to be in their classroom for recess. Most of all, teachers. But anyway, so there were this group of 3 girls that kept trying to sneak out of their room and go into the room across the hall where they could be with their friends. And I had been having a rough day up to that point, and in the hallway, I yelled at them. I said, if you don't go back to your room, you're not going to go out to recess for the rest of the school year. And it was February. And I was yelling. So I thinking. And then as I turned, I looked in this classroom, and this classroom teacher was looking at me with this wide-eyed expression. And I was like, oh, shoot. First of all, how can I back that up? I can't.
No.
So I feel what you're saying. And that's, I can identify with that. That's something else that I'm also not going to do. So thanks for being honest and bringing that up.
Yeah.
All right. So, the other thing I want to talk about is what's the worst injury that you guys have ever had in class? Everybody's got these injury stories. Cliff got one. He just looked straight down. He's embarrassed about it.
Because it was mine.
Oh.
It was.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I can't tell if it's just really good or really embarrassing, but I'm excited to hear it now.
It's both. So we were doing a warm-up of rock, paper, scissors tag. I don't know if you've ever done this.
Yep.
You're across the center line from a partner, and you can make it however you wish, but whoever wins or loses, again, however you make it, has to turn around and run back to the line that's behind them, and then the other person tags them. Well, I turned to run, and my foot caught inside the pant leg of my other leg, and I went down like a box of rocks, and tore my meniscus right there.
Oh man.
So, yeah, that was very embarrassing. But and the kid just standing over me, looking at me, going, "Should I tag you?"
I was gonna say, did he still tag you?
Go ahead.
Out at that point.
Wow.
Oh,
Matthew, how about you?
Yeah. The worst injury I've ever encountered was broken finger. We're playing football. I have a smaller gym, so the walls are really close to the basketball court lines. Kid goes up, try to catch it, looks, watching the ball, runs straight into the wall, comes out, he's got a broken finger.
Oh.
He did hold on to the ball though. So I give him
nice.
Luckily, parents were, sympathetic, and they no worries. We've been through that before with him, and okay. And this is the first few years of teaching, so after that, it's uh-oh, there goes my career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you immediately think, oh, that's it.
I'm out. pack my bag.
Sign up for the insurance.
Yep.
And okay, and then I'm one that I go over safety, and I watch over and I try to prevent things, but otherwise that's probably the worst I've ever had.
Yeah.
I hear you. My worst happened last year. I've never had a broken bone in my class until last year. And we were jump roping, and jump ropes were on the ground, and we were meeting in the middle, and we were talking. And the girl was walking back to get her jump rope, just walking, and she broke her foot.
Oh man.
Yeah, she sat down. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I hurt myself. I'm like, oh, what'd you do? I was walking. So then she ends up going to the doctor, and she's got a cast for like 6 weeks.
Oh wow.
like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I don't think I did anything wrong there, but
I'd have to say mine's a toss-up. I had one boy, we were doing floor hockey unit, and we were doing hockey, and he kept sliding. And I kept telling him, stay on your feet. You're going to get hurt. Stay on your feet. You're going to get hurt. And after the 4th time, he slid, and he went face first into, this is my old gym at my building, and right into the heat register, and went to the hospital and came back to school with 9 stitches in his lip. And immediately came to see me and was like, his lip was like, I guess I shouldn't have been sliding. Like, no, I shouldn't have. And then a couple years ago, we were doing bowling. And, when we do our bowling, we're back away from the wall, and we bowl towards this wall. And then they go and set their pins back up. And for whatever reason, this girl, she ran down there, caught her toe on the floor, and ran like face first into the wall. And I was so nervous and scared. She got up bleeding. I was like, okay, well, why don't you go see the nurse, or, go get cleaned up. And when she came back, she was totally fine, just not bleeding anymore. She's ready to go. I said, oh, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Or is everything all right? She said, yeah, but before I start bowling again, can I go find my tooth? True story. Yep. And we did. We found it.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea. And she didn't tell me until she came back. I was like, oh, geez. But again, Matt, that was another one too. Talking to the mom, I'm like, oh, okay, this is what happened. Whatever. And it was what it was. So I think that's, we're dealing with elementary kids, and we are in a physical environment, and those things will happen. So moving on, New Year's resolutions. Matt, what's yours?
For me, it has to be a lot more family time. I've got 4 young kids, nonstop, and just spending more time with my family. I mean, last year with us was very hard, and it really opens up your eyes and makes you really think about the ones that are important to you.
Yep. Very good.
That's my big one.
Hey there.
Yeah. Cliff.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can never go wrong with choosing to spend, good quality time with your family. I know the more involved that I get at my school and with the Twitter family phys ed group, my state association, just the more opportunities there are. And you start to feel pressure to keep that connection instead. And so I am just talked with some people the other day about my one word for the year. And my one word / resolution is choose. And so I'm choosing, I'm working really hard on choosing to be more meaningful time with my family, and meaningful time with people that I physically can interact with. I love interacting with all of you on Twitter. We have so much fun, and I learn so much. And so part of my choosing this year is to learn how to do that in an effective way, and yet not have it get the most out of me instead. So So that's mine. How about you guys?
Yeah, awesome answer. Because I mean, honestly, that's kind of what mine was too. To be honest, it's spending more time and more purposeful time with your family, because I don't know if you've noticed, but since the last December, January, I have not been so much involved in the Twitter world. And Tanner and I were talking about this the other day, but just it's not that I'm not on there. I still am. It's just I'm trying to make it so that what I do post on there, what I do spend time on there, that it's not taking away from anything at home, rather than sitting on the couch watching football and tweeting like crazy. Do it when you have more free time that's not, or should not have been spent with your family. So yeah, kind of mine too. I also I've been getting a little bit, I got my winter coat on up here in North Dakota. And so, we're working towards, Jason's got to lose a few lbs, if you know what I mean. So
it's cold.
I thought you were going to say it's almost fishing season.
Well, you got it. That's what I'm saying. It's ice fishing season, so you got to have that winter coat on to stay warm. So I'm okay with it, but it's getting to the point where I gotta, I've got to make some better choices, I think. So, Tanner.
Mine goes back to that same stuff you guys are talking about. Ever since about Shape Tampa, I think that's I was feeling like I'd been doing a lot and kind of staying off social media a little bit more. I'm never like ever away from it. I'm always there, but just not commenting as much and not putting out original stuff as much or sharing as much.
Right.
And when your 4-year-old daughter says something about we're playing with her dolls or something, oh, so-and-so, pretend that her dad's on the phone and can't come. And I'm like, oh, that's what she sees. So, it's that same thing you guys are saying. So just it's hard, put my phone down, but.
I just pulled out my phone once to see what time it was, and my son tried to smack it out of my hand one time, and I thought,
good for
that's telling. Yeah. I was glad and shamed at the same time. So.
Kids will do that to you though, right? They are extremely honest and do not care. Yeah.
All right. So, earlier I mentioned that Jason's favorite team just won its 8th national championship in the last 9 years in college football. They happen to be in my school's conference, so we're not winning anything. But so the Bison are doing great. If you could win 8 championships and you could divide them up between any of your favorite teams, who would get the team or who would get the championships? So like an example would be like I'd give like 2 to UNI basketball because that'd be kind of fun, and maybe I'd give 3 to the Cubs because they're the Cubs. Maybe one of my kids might get 1 for baseball. I guess maybe both of them, and third one or the last one, I'd say maybe my fantasy football team. So those would be my 8 championships. Like, how would you divide up 8 championships?
Real quick, hold on, gentlemen. Tanner, how did you do in fantasy this year?
Won quite a few the first 4 games of the year.
Yeah. Just to be clear, I took 9th place. What place did you take?
I got 10th out of 10.
Who beat you 3 times?
You beat me 3 times.
Listen, I did not set my lineup like I did not care. Once I lost my first 5 games, I was like, it's over, not coming back. I set my lineup hardcore 3 times. Boom, boom, boom.
I texted Jason in the toilet bowl, we'll call it, and he said, "Are we still playing?" I was like, "What?"
True story. He texted me and said, "Man, you're gonna beat me for the 3rd time this year." And my response, you could probably go back in our texts, and it literally said, "Oh, we're still playing?" No clue. Yeah.
No idea.
Oh,
right, so
gone. No idea.
yeah. So how are you guys dividing up those 8 championships? Jason just gives them all to NDSU.
No.
You go ahead, Matt.
Oh, it's a tough question. I mean, I grew up south side of Chicago for 37 years now. I'd have to give some to, let's go 3 in a row we'll go with the Blackhawks on that one. You know, they've had a great run with Patrick Kane and Tays and all of them for a couple of years. I'd have to give some to the Bears. I mean, beginning of the season always looks very uplifting and hopeful, and then they start playing and injuries, all yada yada yada. You know, you got to give them some. I grew up in the 90s with the Bulls, you know, Michael Jordan era. You know, he had 6, I believe. Got to throw them one. Because, you know, they're used to that years and years and years ago, but they're due for it. Let's see, that's 6, 2 more. Grew up on the south side. I got to go with the White Sox over the Cubs. Sorry. I'm a Chicago fan. My father worked at Old Comiskey Park for a number of years, and we would always go in and watch the games. And I have to say the White Sox.
Can't fault you for that.
Sorry,
Cliff.
Well, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, so I'm going to give the Indians their win that they've been there a few times and just can't seem to pull it out. So I'm going to give them one. And the Browns will never, ever be in a Super Bowl, no matter what happens, apparently. So I'll go ahead and give them one as well. Yeah, and I've always been an Ohio State fan, so I'll throw one their way. Yeah, the Cavs got their one a couple years ago, so that was cool. Man, that I can't really think. I'll let you guys have my other championships. Sorry, I'm a little bit stumped. I'm kind of done.
Well, Cleveland already gave it to the Cubs.
Yeah.
I know they did. They handed it right over. It was sad.
Okay. Not to offend anyone who may be watching when this airs, or may watch in the future. We don't want to offend any specific sport specifically. But what do you think would be the easiest professional sport to become a pro in? The easiest sport to become a professional in, and why? If you were to work at one sport, do you think you could be a professional in this sport at some point? Or what do you think is the sport now currently that it is the easiest to be one? Cliff.
Wow. Either being a DH in baseball or maybe playing first base. It seems like there's some big guys that play those positions.
Yeah.
That's my first initial thought. Everything else seems to be pretty intensive.
Right.
Anybody else?
Matt.
I would almost have to say probably golf.
Okay.
Hit the ball as far as you can, and hopefully it goes straight. And then chip away at it. That would probably have to be the easiest sport. And then you get to sit in the cart, and drive to the ball, sit around, chit chat. I think I could do that.
I don't think they let you use carts on the tour, though.
No.
I'll bring my own. It's okay.
Oh.
After you win a couple green jackets, they'll let you.
I know a guy. He said I can ride in the cart. Tanner, what do you think?
I've been thinking about this for a lot of years. I think that if I wanted to go pro or teach somebody to go pro, I think I'd go with a knuckleball pitcher, because really there's probably 2 knuckleball pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. So you don't even have to be that good or beat that many people. And you probably don't have to be in great shape to be a pitcher. You just have to throw it. A knuckleball kind of goes wherever it wants to go. So you probably don't have to be that accurate. But if you have some arm strength, you know how to throw a knuckleball. I mean, Tim Wakefield had a long career.
Yeah.
So that's 2 for baseball. How about you?
Yeah.
Well, when I first saw the question, I thought, I've been telling people for a couple years now, ever since the last Olympic Games, that I think it would be an absolute blast, and I think I could possibly get really good at this. I want to be a curler.
Knew you were going to say that.
I want to be a curler. Like, give me 6 years. Okay, so let's see. Summer Olympics is in 20. So the next winter is in 22. I think if you give me 6 years to practice, by 2026, I could be a professional Olympic curler.
Now, which end? Are you the one who pushes it off and gets down to the ground, or are you the one squeegeeing?
I'm a sweeper. Yeah, I'm a sweeper. Yeah, because what do you gotta do? You gotta be able to stand on the ice and go sideways. I live in North Dakota. There's ice everywhere. You gotta walk on ice everywhere. So, and then you just gotta, like, I sweep my floor all the time at home. Like, you sweep it. It's like, what's so hard? So that was my original answer. But then in listening to you guys and trying to just get some viewership and maybe be a little bit funny, I think the easiest professional position would be the Bears quarterback. Like, you don't have to be good, right? You don't have to, like, win. You just Bears quarterback.
Are you prepared to get, sacked 3-4 times?
Oh, no. In fact, I'm not. I would probably get hit once, and I think I'd get up, but I'd be done playing. That would be the last time. I'd go to the sidelines and say, that's it. Those guys aren't anymore.
My brother-in-law back, 10, 12 years ago, had a shirt. It had a picture of Rex Grossman on it, Bears quarterback. It says, F it, I'm going deep. That was my favorite shirt ever.
Okay. Well.
All right. Let's move on. Hey, why don't you guys tell us about the funniest thing that's ever happened in your gym? Something funny's happened besides when Cliff caught his pant leg and tore his meniscus. What's the funniest thing that's ever happened?
I'm trying to think. Like, I've had kids throw up and stuff, so that's kind of, at times, can be humorous. Obviously not for them, but I did have another incident on my own. Would you like to hear another one of those when I was on the floor?
Absolutely.
Okay, and it was caught on security camera footage, and I got to watch it. It was really fun.
That is awesome.
So I had my classes were back to back, and I had one set was like literally walking out as another one was coming in and sitting down, circling down on the ground. We were going to do a few stretches. And as I was walking around the circle of kids, I had a dizzy spell hit me, like fast and hard. It looked to me like the floor rushed up at me. And from the security camera footage that I got to watch, I was walking around and I instantly just like fell back on my back and just like covered my eyes because like the whole gym was spinning. And but like that's not the funniest part. The funniest part was a student was walking by me, and as he walked by me, he just looked at me, didn't say a word, and then just walked right out. And so I ended up scooting on my butt all the way over to the stairs by the exit of the gym, and with one eye open because everything was spinning so horribly. Texted my principal and said, "I need you." And he came and he deposited me on my desk chair and rolled me out to his car and drove me home. Oh, yeah. So that was
wow,
crazy.
Wow, Cliff.
That's the story.
Yeah, I'm having quite the career here. So
Never beat that.
now go ahead.
You win that category. I try to make myself laugh all day. You're with students all day, little kids. I don't get a lot of adult interaction because teachers drop off students and you see them quickly scurry away. Um, I we talk about dad jokes. I mean, I make all these jokes all the time, it's way over the kids' heads. I'm laughing. Mr. Holben, are you okay? It's like, you guys didn't get that one? Wait, I'll save that one for the next class. I've got some special needs students that get mainstreamed in, and they have a one-on-one, and they're in the corner busting up laughing because of all these jokes that are talking, and the kids have no idea. So I don't have anything other besides the vomit and students going to the bathroom, even though I said they can go, they went. Literally right there. But I don't have a lot of funny incidences like Cliff. Cliff,
Yeah.
you win.
I like feel bad for Cliff. I don't.
Yeah.
I had no idea you. you
Do they still have that video of that stuff?
No, I can't. I kick myself every time I think, why didn't I pull out my phone and just, videotape that while he was playing it? But
Make a GIF and
yeah.
oh man, I'd play that all day. I love it. It was just what that kid walked out, stone cold, walks right past me. It was just gets me every time.
Right past you. I had one that I every time we ask this question, because we've asked this on a few episodes, I try to think through like, okay, what has happened, whatever. And I had one, it wasn't necessarily in my classroom, but we had a new addition to our school, and when we were in the old part, we call it the old part, I guess, or whatever, the west side we call it. It was after school, so it's between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, and teachers supposed to be working in their classrooms, but I think it was probably a Friday, and everybody was kind of done for the day, and so we're standing in the hallway talking, and the ceiling is a false ceiling, and we could hear this scratching and rattling around, and nobody really knew what was going on, and they called the utility crew to come, but the utility crew had already left for the day, and so they were like, well, we got to figure out what's up here. And so I was younger and, hard to believe, dumber at the time, and I was like, I'll go look. And so I went to my office, and I came back, and I had a hockey stick and a tennis racket and a helmet on. And so I climbed up and I stuck my head into the ceiling panel, and it ended up being a bird that was in there. I don't know how it got in there, but it came through a vent or something, and so there was this little bird in there, and I jumped down and spun around, and my principal was standing there. Jason, what are you doing? There's a bird in there. And I had this helmet and these two things. I thought it was a squirrel, and I was gonna have to fight it, but nope, just a little Tweety bird. And so I think they left it until the utility crew could come the next day or something. They had them come and get it out. So Tanner, how about you?
You said something about being upstairs in this old building. I worked in a lot of buildings. I think it was my shut up years where I used to tell the kids to shut up, because that's kind of the school I worked in. But we used to have water balloon fights indoors after hours. Yeah. You didn't always know what was going to happen. In fact, sometimes you'd get hit by a water balloon at like 3:30, and you'd be like, who's throwing water balloons? And you'd see somebody running down the hall really fast.
Who's throwing the balloons?
So,
Yeah. Teachers?
So it took a while to figure it out. And these were like in class, teachers in classrooms. Like We're working on something and somebody's wet all of a sudden, and you're standing in the hallway waiting for 4 o'clock to hit so you can leave.
Yep.
And somebody comes out and just nails you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotta do something to fill that time.
What's that? Sorry.
You got to do something to fill that time until 4 o'clock. So
You know,
have a water balloon fight.
sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. This was a fun episode, gentlemen. This was so awesome. I can't wait to put this one out and see everybody's responses to this. But we want to thank you for being on the show today and for taking time out of your busy evenings to join us on Let's Talk Phys Ed, and more, and have a few laughs. There's quite a few good ones today. So super excited you guys could join us. Real quick, do either of you have, for our viewers who maybe, they probably know you from Twitter, but how can they get a hold of you if need be? If they want to talk more about, Cliff taking care of himself in the classroom or anything like that. Do you have a website? Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have, your Twitter handle? Something like that they can get a hold of you. Cliff?
Well, yeah, I'm HD Phys Ed at Twitter. I have hdphysed.weebly.com where I've posted some blogs. And that's probably the best way with my, hopefully, not to be offensive, but I hope I don't get back with you like right away because I'm spending more quality time with my family. But that's probably the best way.
Awesome.
Besides at Holben_PE on Twitter, I do have a website, mrholbenpe.weebly.com. But I mean, sometimes on Thursday nights we have IA for chat. There's lots of great topics going on. We just had one for advocacy. And in 2 weeks, January 23rd, we're going to talk about assessing and grades, because it's always a big topic. 8 o'clock Central Time on the 23rd. More the merrier, lots of ideas being shared. And that's what, this Phys Ed family is all about, just sharing and, connecting.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing those, gentlemen, and thank you so much for being on episode 45 of Let's Talk Phys Ed. Hopefully many more to come. If you want to see these guys, get in contact with them again on Twitter. And then hopefully one of these days we'll have another reunion show and they will be able to make that one. So as always, thank you for joining us tonight. This is Let's Talk Phys Ed. I am Jason Steele.
And I'm Tanner Rose.
A little slow on that one, but we got it.
You always say my name. I don't have to say it.
Oh, well, okay. My fault. That one's on me. We might have to.
Let's try it again. Try it again, Jason.
As always, thanks for joining us. I am Jason Steele. With me, as always, Tanner Rose. Tanner, thanks for being here as well.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.